So we're in the third installment of this lesson, and I call it Silly Enough to Save My Life. And I do because you get to see this woman who is grieving and broke. Ain't that a combination? We see it all the time in the hood, don't get me wrong, but you know, it's hard. You know, it's hard to be both. You know, you can't even deal with the pain because you are also dealing with, you can't deal with the emotional pain because you're about to be broke, evicted, whatever the situation may be. And she starts off by saying, you know, my husband was faithful. That hurts because you feel like God owes you something. And I'm just going to be honest, I do. There are times when I go to God like, look, I'm out here, you know, living right, you know what I'm saying, for your name's sake. And you got me out here hurting, or you got me out here broke, or you got me out here embarrassed. And so we all feel like God owes us something. Well, not all, but some of us feel like God owes us something. We try to call God to the carpet. And I actually think that's a great thing. But this is a situation where her husband was dead and she had debt to pay. And her debt to pay would come in the form of enslaving her sons. And so we don't really understand slavery like that in this day, but it would be like, the closest thing I can think of would be if the dad died and left the family in debt, maybe the boys would go and be on the block. Or they would be some, you know, so they'd be dope boys, or they would start doing some stuff that they didn't want to do, or they would have to forfeit their education in order to make sure their family could stand. So that might be something more contemporary for us to understand. Somebody dies, that leaves us to do things that we didn't think we would normally have to do. And the person who died, our father, our mother, was faithful. That's difficult. But she sees the man of God, and the man of God has an answer for her. You know, you go and get all your jars. And I call it Silly Enough to Save My Life because she had to feel a little embarrassed going to knock on the door. Can I have your jars? They're like, girl, you broke. You need to be out trying to figure something else out. I'm sure, you know. But like, can I have your jars? And I wonder how many jars she got because she was too embarrassed to keep asking. And sometimes we get so embarrassed that our embarrassment keeps us from whatever is best. But sometimes we have to be silly enough to save our lives. And when God speaks something, even when it's embarrassing and it doesn't make any sense, what do you do? And I wonder if she got 45 jars, but if she would have gotten 150, how much wealthier she could have been, or how much longer it would have lasted. And then I have to wonder, since you got the jars from your community, do you owe your community something when your jars are filled? Because sometimes we're blessed by the people around us, but once we get it, we don't go back and give. So I think there are a couple of questions we have in here. Think about it. What has God told you to do that was silly before, that you either did or did not answer, that was actually best for you? That was a blessing to you, but you could have missed out or did miss out because you didn't respond. You know, when they were talking about Steve Jobs, you know, he did a whole lot of things that probably made people laugh at him, but he was silly enough to create a successful operation and leave a legacy that's probably unmatched. How many times do we miss out because we don't trust what God said because it doesn't make much sense to us, or we only do it half-heartedly because we're embarrassed to go all the way out? So not only do I encourage you to really think through these questions, but think about what God is saying to you. And then don't half-step. Don't do some of it and not all of it. But give us your all, because the world is waiting for you to be silly enough to save your life and possibly ours too. Holla at your girl, RAV_BRI. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you in the next lesson.